you should see Microsoft PowerPoint right now. In a little while, you'll be able to see my charts. I spoke with Agora, and unfortunately, due to federal regulations, I'm not going to be able to take live questions. So if it has to do with the markets or anything like that, I'm not going to be able to answer them. On our next call, I will have some time where you can send in questions, and we'll deal with those so we can get those questions answered. Also, I would ask again, if you're just coming on the teleconference line, there was a mistake with the teleconference access code. So right now, everyone is on the line as a presenter, which may pose a little bit of a problem. So please hold your questions, and if you can, resist the urge to chime in if you have to. That'll make this thing go a lot smoother and help everyone to understand what's going on. I'm going to take just a second to grab a sip of water, and we're just going to jump right in. It looks like we've got most of the people on the line. We've got over 300 people that have registered and are on the web conference right now. Okay, I wanted to title this presentation "How to Get World-Class Trading Powers in 32 Seconds," just because I thought it was sort of snazzy, and I thought that might be a little bit misleading. But what we are going to talk about how best to use the membership website. I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to me, information that wasn't necessarily in the letter that most of you saw. And we're going to be going over some of the opportunities that I see in the Forex right now, a couple of details having to do with the MetaTrader program. Unfortunately, one of the things that we have to deal with MetaTrader is that I don't control it. So I've got a way to get you technical support and your questions answered with the updated version, so we'll be dealing with those MetaTrader issues. And then I'm going to walk you through exactly what I do in 20 minutes to get ready for the market. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, you're going to have a better understanding of how to use the membership website. You're going to have a better understanding of then how to use the membership website to duplicate these world-class trading powers that I'm talking about. And I'm also going to give you a couple of very advanced, although simple, learning technology tips for actually going through the course. You see, a big part of the course is that you're going to be able to see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to give you the game plan that I have every single day that I'm trading for the markets. But my personal goal is to really get you retired. Now, here's what that means. In my mind, somebody who's retired is completely independent. They're not dependent on a boss. They're not dependent on a business. They're not even dependent on their own decisions with their money, because that's all been taken care of. Okay? So what does it mean to be retired in the market? That's what we're going to also hopefully have answered for you by the end of this presentation. There we go. So, and again, if you're coming into the teleconference portion of this late, you really are going to need to be watching, or actually I should say this web conference. If you're getting into this web conference a little bit late, you should have the software up and running. And you should have on your screen right now a presentation which says first an introduction. In just a few minutes after we get through some of this housekeeping information, we'll get right into the gory details of the market. In 1991, 1992, I was a Desert Storm vet. I graduated also what many consider to be the world's most demanding military training. That's the U.S. Army Special Forces selection. I was only in the Army for 4 years and 9 months, and quite frankly, being a trader and having a trader's mentality, I didn't exactly fit in with the Army culture, if you can imagine it. Traders tend to be very independent. We tend to like to go our own way. So trying to fit that into the military didn't quite work. So we parted on amicable terms. It was an honorable discharge. But nevertheless, it was something that I'm glad I went through, but I'm glad God had other plans for my life. 1994 and 1995 is when I left the Army and met my future wife. And if any of you have ever wondered if there is such a thing as love at first sight, I am a living testament to that. The very second that I saw her, I knew that she was going to be my wife and I'd be with her for the rest of my life. So then about 1997, Sarah and I are partners with, at that point, America's largest agent for what was then AirTouch Cellular. She handled a lot of the salespeople and dealing with the different markets. She was instrumental at turning around several of those markets and making them very, very profitable where they just couldn't make it work otherwise. We were doing business in actually over 20 states. We had well over 400 employees, sub-agents, vendors. It was a very big operation. But it was also during this time that I got introduced to trading. And here's how it happened. We were at a trade show, and normally at trade shows, if you've ever done anything like that, you don't pick up what's called the swag or this free stuff that's all over the tables, because if you're doing these trade shows, you're going to have this stuff filling up your entire house. So we didn't take it. We didn't take the free pens, the free letter openers. But for some reason, I was walking by this very large trade show. I was walking by a table and grabbed a video off of this table without really thinking about it. And took a look at the cover. The cover seemed pretty compelling, and I took it home. Now, on that tape was an introduction to the world of trading. And prior to that, I had been what you would call an investor. In the military, they taught us about how to save your money and bonds and stocks and mutual funds and things like that. We had different people come into our company and present information on how to invest our money. Of course, being a young man and sort of gung-ho, I figured, I'll worry about that when I'm older. It appealed to me on one level, but I never really went after it with a lot of gusto. I figured, let me just let everybody else take care of it. The experts will let me will lead me down the primrose path. Of course, over the last 7 or 8 years, we've all found where that can get you. So this tape, I'm watching it, and I don't know if you've ever had an experience where there was something about the information that you're seeing, it resonates with you, and you just know that your life is never going to be the same. And that's exactly what happened to me. I knew, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this thing called trading was what I wanted to do. And I just dove in with both feet. I started transitioning out of the company, which, due to other reasons, our business partner was extremely poor with money. To give you an example, one of our trucks backed into his BMW 740iL, which at that time was, the ultimate driving machine, if you will. Rather than get the bloody thing repaired, he actually had them truck one in 3 days all the way from Florida. So he spent another, I think it was $117,000 to get a car rather than waiting. So needless to say, there were some other issues in the business that we started to discover. So we were transitioning out of that business anyway. By 1999, I was a full-time trader. I was starting to get requests from friends and family to teach them, what are you doing? What's going on? Of course, that was just the beginning of that huge push into 99 and 2000, the great bull run. Everybody wanted to be a day trader anyway. Back then, I was trading mostly options. I was starting to get into the futures market. I started out in equities and stocks. I moved into options. Then I moved into commodities and futures. And then finally have decided to concentrate solely on the Forex market. And then by 2000, because I'd been recruited by a very large seminar company to do one of their, to come into the team that was doing one of their trading seminars, I had, of course, been introduced to individuals that were either traders themselves or managing money. And by this time, I was a hedge fund trader and a proprietary trader. If you don't know, a proprietary trading room is where a group of people get together